Fear, stress, worry, depression, anxiety, anticipatory anxiety. 36 million year head start. So if you think, someone listening, that you have control over your brain, you don't understand math, science, and physiology, because you don't. But you can figure out how to gain command of your brain. Can we serve monks? So I go to an ashram, and I introduce NuCalm, and I leave them with 10 NuCalm systems. So what do you guys think of NuCalm? They looked at me and said, "We love NuCalm." I was like, "What? You're monks?" They're like, "Yeah, we're also human." So I remember stepping out of that meeting and calling our executive team, "Guys, things are getting crazy."
Everyone's talking about stress. Meditation apps, breathwork protocols, cold plunges, nervous system hacks, and most of them work a little bit, sometimes when you actually do them. But what nobody's talking about is that none of these are actually proven. The nervous system regulation space is flooded with products, protocols, making all these claims they can't back up. And Jim Poole's company, NuCalm, is much different. It's the only patented, clinically validated technology for bringing the brain into a parasympathetic state without drugs. And actually, 2.6 million people have used it in surgery as a replacement for general anesthesia. It used to be a $6,000 Class 3 medical device, and now it's available for $15 a month in an app. Tony Robbins has used it every day for 11 years. They even used it with monks who loved it, and they're pretty peaceful to begin with. And honestly, I haven't stopped telling everyone I know about this since the first time I tried it. I'm Brooks Coleman. This is Nothing is Wrong. Here's my conversation with Jim Poole. And if anything we talk about today makes you want to try it, there's a 7-day free trial at NuCalm.com. All right. Welcome back to the Nothing is Wrong podcast. I have a very special guest today, Jim Poole from NuCalm. And we're going to go all things stress, NuCalm, which you're about to figure out or find out what that is if you don't know already. So, Jim, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. And I like the title, Nothing is Wrong. Keep telling yourself that, people, because it's true.
Amazing. Amazing. And I think this is like, at least for me, one of the most transformational, probably the most transformational pieces of technology I've found to help me remember that on a regular basis. Can you give us a little backstory about you and your journey, and then we can talk more specifics to the NuCalm and the stress side?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm 57 years old, and my key achievement has been to raise, with my beautiful wife, 3 healthy, happy young ladies, 24, 22, and 19. Who knew that would be such a masterful achievement? But in today's world and in today's life and in the growing up with this, it's a whole different world, man. So I live in Tampa, Florida. I'm from the Northeast. I have an identical twin brother, and he's been my consigliere and my right-hand man on this journey for 17 years. So 17 years ago, I took over this company that was founded by a neuroscientist, quantum physicist, brilliant human being who was on a mission to save humanity from stress, but he had Asperger's and he had no business acumen, so he kind of needed some help. And so for 17 years, I have traveled the earth informing people on some of the simple aspects of how their brain works, because for whatever reason, no one ever tells us, "Hey, this is how your brain works." "Oh, really? Thanks for the intel." So I've traveled the world telling people how their brain works, and then solutions to help you optimize your brain health. And it's been fun. I get to do cool things. What does that mean? Today, I'm training a professional athletic team, one of the top teams in their respective sport. Yesterday, I was working with the Ukraine government because we're part of the consortium of the Guardians of the Defenders. We've been serving Ukraine since the Russian invasion of February 2022. We recently were just named the official sensory partner for the Special Olympics, the official brain health partner for the Major County Sheriff's Association. Just in Texas last week for the Chiefs of Police annual Texas meeting with 856 police officers. Next week, I'm doing a keynote presentation at the EarthX conference in Dallas with Roger Love. Tonight, I'm doing a lecture with Dr. Neil Bulchandani, the functional mandibular diaphragmatic integrative medicine expert. Last month, we launched a track with Mark Victor Hansen, work with Tony Robbins, Jim Quick. We work with cancer patients. We work with monks. We work with FedEx Pilots Union. We work with the Department of Defense, war fighters, the FBI, the hostage rescue team. It's a cool job. Why is it a cool job? Well, Brooks, here's one thing I've learned. Everybody has a brain. Your brain's made of the same parts, and everybody has stress. So when you create a product that solves stress, it's amazing how in demand you are. So there you go. So there's a little bit of background of me. I live in Tampa, Florida now. Moved here 2 years ago when we became empty nesters, and we love it. Who knew that vitamin D could directly correlate to a smile on your face every day?
Yeah. I'm up in Nebraska, so I've got my we've got a UV index of 7 today, which is a nice welcome level, but I've got my nice red
I won't rub it in, but I'll rub it in. It's 88 degrees here today.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, it's beautiful there. I love it. I also love how like you just named a million different things in 1 month, and I feel like you're the epitome of the benefits of NuCalm, because it's like, how are you operating that way? How are you on the road that much, doing all these different cool things and loving it? Well, the proof is in the pudding, right?
You bring up a great point. It's a couple of years ago, I was talking to the CEO of a company, and he was asking me questions, and I was just monologuing, and he stopped me mid-sentence. He said, "Mr. Poole, can I interrupt you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're a freak." And I said, "Probably." He said, "No, seriously, you're like a super species." I said, "Well, it ain't me." I said, "I'm not epigenetically predisposed to super species. It's addition by subtraction. When you burn no calories on stress, you burn no calories on worry. In fact, I'm incapable of worrying. You burn no calories on anxiety. You sleep well, and you modulate your stress. That's my recipe. And it's amazing how efficient you can be and how present you can be in your life wherever you go when I don't have any conversations going on behind my eyes. And before NuCalm, I was like everybody else.
Yeah.
I was in a gerbil wheel, running fast, going to bed every night, disappointed to get my to-do list done. Don't even know what's on your to-do list. Who cares? What's on your to-do list today that's going to change your life forever? Probably nothing. But people go to bed every night. They're like, I got to do this. I got to do that. You don't have to do any of it. Breathe.
Yeah.
Hug someone you love. Talk to somebody. Talk to a neighbor. I mean, the pace of life has accelerated so fast in the last 10 years. Our attention span is shorter than a fruit fly's. I mean, it's really just, we're in a race. I tell people this, and it's demoralizing. The human race appears to be in a race to erase the human race. Somebody's got to step up and make a difference.
Yeah, I love that differentiation between the actual things and the voice in your head that's telling you about having to do the things.
And how about Brooks? Back in the day, there was a group of people that could influence your behavior. They were called people in your proximity. It could be schoolmates, could be teachers, could be coaches, could be parents. But today, anybody on earth, 7 billion people with a mobile phone, can impact your mood by diabolically texting you. It's absurd that humans allow themselves to get to this place where we are so passively accepting of other people's garbage. And it's through osmosis. If you're in the presence of somebody with anxiety, it's nearly physiologically impossible for you to leave that room not feeling anxious. If you're in the room with somebody who's depressed, it's nearly physiologically impossible not to leave feeling depressed. Well, now people can just transfer their emotion and their garbage through text. There should be like an asshole button or something that says, before you read this, this person is an asshole.
Yeah.
It's so crazy what we've allowed our species to devolve into. It's really frightening.
Yeah. Yeah. The stress, I mean, you said solve stress. That's a big claim, Jim. Like, how do you define stress?
Stress is the central nervous system identifying a threat of some sort, pinging the amygdala expressing its rights and privileges to access the HPA axis, create adrenaline, catecholamines, cortisol, the stress hormone, take the blood flow from your extremities, bring it to your visceral organs, activate your heart palpitations, make shallow breath, and make really poor decisions. That's stress. That's the physiological definition of stress. But to me, on the human side, like, hey, what's really happening? Anxiety, fear, anticipatory anxiety, somebody wanting something from me I can't deliver, disappointing people, conflict, hanging out with people who may be crazy, irrational, the media being fear-mongering, driving around, traffic, there's so many different ways to create that stress. But essentially, on the physiological side, Brooks, it's a really simple mathematical equation. Stress equates to a higher brainwave frequency. The higher brainwave frequency leads to less oxygen in key areas of your brain, specifically your forehead. This pace where you're not getting enough oxygen in your brain to make responsive, reflective decisions. You're reacting, your heart's palpitating, your breath is shallow, and you're just in a panic state. That's, to me, what stress feels like. And it's exhausting. And I don't want people to have to feel that way, because you don't have to feel that way. Stress can be a choice. But in today's culture where your choice is caffeine for morning, Red Bull and Monster Energy for 1 o'clock, and just go, 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 go. And I mean, it's so the claim we make, it's funny you say it's a big claim. You should see the other stuff we can say. We can state.
Yeah. No, I believe.
Because when you solve stress, everything else is amazing. So solve stress. What does that do? Well, solve stress directly correlates to improving sleep quality without drugs. That's a biggie. No one's sleeping well. We've solved that by solving stress. Solve stress. We can work with Alzheimer's, dementia, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, ALS, cancer, you name it. Stress created every disease state, and stress impacts the symptoms of every disease state. When you solve stress, so yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing for me with because I spent 10 years chasing solving stress. And there's obviously a huge market for it. Everybody knows they're stressed, but a lot of people just accept it. Like there's no slowing down enough to realize, oh, maybe there are ways to manage this. But then even if you are in the place of, I'm stressed, this isn't good, I would like to live better. I mean, if you use meditation, that's a long-ass journey to get where NuCalm can get you pretty damn quickly. And I think my efforts to decrease stress for years were almost more stressful in a way, because then I was beating myself. It's like you're just fighting against, like the way you describe that amygdala response and what's going on in the body when we're trying to use our mind to overcome that. It's kind of
and you can't. And you can't.
Right.
Because it's the wiring of the brain. So you bring up 2 points that are really important. For all the complexity and amazement of the human brain, we're wholly incapable of understanding 2 things. One, the intangible. If I can't see it and touch it and feel it and taste it and smell it, is it real? Now, intellectually, I know stress is real. And I know when I'm stressed, I'm not my best self. But is it real? The second thing is time horizon. We seem wholly incapable of understanding time horizon. So, say when I was growing up, smoking cigarettes was the norm. So today, if you said, hey, you're 17 years old, don't smoke that cigarette because you'll have lung cancer and you'll die. Who cares? That's in the future. Hey, don't go out in the sun. Melanoma is a really nasty cancer to die from. Who cares? That's in the future. So those 2 elements create problems for us. The third piece here that's interesting about what you mentioned, humans are resilient. This is really important for us because we can overcome any obstacle. But human resilience leads to normalization, where you normalize dysfunctional habits and lifestyle. So there's a double edge to that side of the equation. And then on the meditation side, if you're ambitious, if you're smart, if you demand a lot of yourself, you have high expectations of yourself and others, and you just go, 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 good luck trying to meditate. Your brain isn't built for it. And meditation's been around for 3,500 years. It's pathetic how slow humans are to adopt things. 3,500 years. Hey guys, maybe you should figure this out. I did martial arts for 20 years. I'm pretty sure I was the world's worst meditator. I hated meditation.
Yeah.
In fact, to this day, I don't think I ever achieved even alpha state meditation. All I achieved was panic, my mind swirling, my problems right in my face, and my breath shallow. For 20 years I tried to do it. I don't even know what I was trying to do. So I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So meditation is amazing, but it is a practice.
Yeah.
And there are days when your adrenal cortex is not interested in you down-regulating. There are days where the lack of predictability of meditation creates a problem for people. So,
yeah. Well, and I love how you said that because, even if you are going to meditate, it can be helpful to, have a little fast track here to get the experience to see what's possible, because where you're at is where you're at. And if you've never experienced anything else, it's just like, well, I don't know what you're talking. What do you mean? Watch my thoughts, So that sort of a thing, especially mid-afternoon. Like to me, quiet morning, I can sit down and meditate, and it's much deeper than 2-3 p.m. middle of the workday when I still have the evening left. Like, good luck on
yes.
on getting the brain waves to move, which is essentially what NuCalm does, right?
Correct. So how intellectually curious is your audience? How scientific can we get?
I would say medium.
Okay.
Definitely not like full in, but yeah.
So we're going to do a 5-minute overview of the human brain.
Cool.
From evolutionary neuropsychobiology to today. There are two aspects of the human brain that we need to pay attention to. One is called the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is governed by the amygdala. It's an almond-shaped piece in our midbrain. And the autonomic nervous system manages fight, flight, or freeze. It's our defense mechanism to keep us alive. So their survival instinct and the survival mechanism is managed by the autonomic nervous system and the amygdala. It also manages fear, stress, anxiety, depression, worry, impatience, distraction, overwhelm. I think pretty much every human's familiar with those. That's the autonomic nervous system. And if it didn't have enough work to do, let's pile it on. It also manages involuntary bodily functions like your breath, your digestion, and your heart rate. That is the autonomic nervous system, the amygdala. Now, it is stated or known or thought of that the circuitry of this aspect of the human brain has about 40 million years of neuronal circuitry. So this started from cells and amoebas, survival instinct, reptile brain, lizard brain, whatever you want to call it. It's the primal survival instinct of the human brain. 40 million years of circuitry. It knows how to do its job. So if you think, oh, well, today I'm not going to worry, good luck trying to override 40 million years of the brain circuitry. It is a perfect architected system. The second part of the brain is your prefrontal and frontal cortex. Your forehead separates humans from primates, okay? This part of our brain and the neuronal circuitry in this part of our brain is our patience, our presence, our executive functioning, our logic, our decision making, our emotional well-being, our personality, and our character. This part of our brain, it is said to be 4 million years of neuronal circuitry. So our patience, our presence, our executive functioning, our logic, our rational decision making, our emotional well-being. Fear, stress, worry, depression, anxiety, anticipatory anxiety. 36 million year head start. 36 million year head start. So if you think, someone listening, that you have control over your brain, you don't understand math, science, and physiology, because you don't. But you can figure out how to gain command of your brain. It's a matter of putting the amygdala at the kids' table where it belongs. And the amygdala isn't bad. It's not like, hey, I'm going to sabotage your life today. It's not thinking that. It's a survival tool, and it's really good at its job. And it likes to work. That's a problem. It likes to work. You'll notice, when you cycle through a worry, your brain says, well, what about this? You haven't worried about this yet, right? And it has an energy to itself. Okay, so that's one aspect. The second aspect is, what is the currency of the human brain? Well, it's not time, it's not money, it's not attention span, it's oxygen. The currency of the human brain is oxygen. So there's a battle for resources in your brain at all times. Your forehead, that's where you want the oxygen to be, or the amygdala in the midbrain. That's where you don't want the oxygen to go, because then it sabotages your ability to think clearly. So that's the challenge. Frequency, vibration, and resonance is the third kind of piece of the triangle of understanding the human brain. Now, everything on this earth has a vibration and a frequency, and this is challenging for most people. Like inanimate objects, this has a frequency. What are you talking about? This water bottle has a frequency. It makes no sense. You have a frequency at all times. Now, it's interesting, we don't stop and think, but think through all the pictures you've ever seen of yourself. You've never looked the same in any picture. Think about the pictures of your friends and your families and your spouses and your partners and your kids and your parents. They've never looked the same. Why? Because we're vibrational beings. We're never the same. You're not going to be the same 1 minute from now. So we are constantly oscillating and vibrating. This brings up a good point. For us who are goal-oriented and ambitious, we set goals and we think the goal is the end. No, it's not. There is no end. There is no end. Even if you pass into the next life, many people speculate, maybe it's just the beginning of another life, but there is no end. Our energy and our flow is all the time. So that's vibration of the universe, and the Earth's magnetic rotation has a certain frequency of 7.83 hertz, and the human body cavity resonates at 7.83 hertz, and there's a lot of symmetry and math to the universe. All that's great. Now we get to the human brain. Every single human brain oscillates in a frequency range of 41 hertz. Everybody's brain. 5 categories, delta, theta, and alpha, are all slow waveforms, big, slow, high amplitude waves in sleep. Beta and gamma are fast. 41 hertz, and here's what's cool about this. This is math and direct correlation. When your brain's at 0.5 hertz, everybody on this earth is in dreamless-like deep sleep. When your brain is at 4 hertz, everybody on this earth, your cells are cleaning their toxins and your mitochondria is restored. This is the healing zone of the human body, your cell structure and your health, and the reason why humans must sleep. You must spend time in theta, specifically 4 hertz to 7 hertz, and the slower to 4 hertz, the better. Alpha is 8 hertz to 12 hertz and synonymous with creativity, being in the zone, and transcendental meditation. And then beta is the broadest range. 13 to 15 hertz is you're awake but not really excited to be awake. 15 to 20 hertz is the learning zone. Concentration, clarity, comprehension, the ability to create new neuronal pathways and learn. 18.4 hertz is the specific learning frequency. And then 20 to 25 hertz is where many people spend their day. Fast frequency, distraction, anxiety, worry, anxiety, more worry, anticipatory anxiety. 25 to 30 is a lot more of the same. So think about this. My frequency is going fast. I'm distracted. I'm easily overwhelmed. I'm triggered. I'm emotionally vulnerable. And my breath is shallow. Well, I need oxygen here, but I'm not getting it because my amygdala has tricked me to worry about something, increase my frequency, diminish my breath. It almost feels like a conspiracy. It's not, it's physiology. But that's our life. So when we're in a state of anxiety or worry, anticipatory anxiety, or agitated, impatience, distracted, you don't stand much of a chance because there's not enough oxygen here for you to be reflective and responsive. So for example, if you woke up, Brooks, and you had Murphy's Law and 3 bad things happened before 7 o'clock, and you're just like, today's gonna suck. And I look at you and say, Brooks, you're grumpy. You're not gonna say, thanks for the tip, Jim. Maybe I'll breathe better. No, you're gonna say, no, I'm not, right?
Yeah.
So you can't talk yourself out of it because it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. If you could talk yourself out of it, it'd be more oxygen here, but it doesn't work that way. So the way that the physiology and the evolution of our brain is built, we're built to be easily sabotaged. We're built to be stuck into paths of anxiety and worry. We're built to be low oxygen. When you think about meditation, yoga, tai chi, and breath work, people don't know what they don't know. So they're like, wow, okay, that just seems like a practice of mindfulness. Well, what's the physiological benefit of mindfulness? Distributing oxygen to your forehead. If you've ever been to a monastery, you're not going to hear monks swearing at each other and getting into fisticuffs. It just doesn't work that way because they're fully oxygenated. If you've ever hung out with somebody who's a yogi, a Tai Chi master, or Wim Hof, they're balanced because there's oxygen displaced here and not stolen by the amygdala. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the mystery of your brain. So when you're acting like an asshole and you're disturbed and you're going to say things that you regret and you're not nice to the people you love, you're not even in control. You think you're in control. You're not in control. Your brain physiology is in control. Your amygdala is in control. So that's how the brain works. Let me take the opportunity, Brooks, to segue into what the heck does NuCalm do? Because it's pretty cool what we figured out.
One question real quick.
Yeah.
As you're describing that, high frequency worry up here, I couldn't help but think about, traditional medicine where they're going to say, here's a Xanax that quiets that down. How can people think about the comparison of biochemistry and like the GABAergic system or these medications that slow things down through something in your blood compared to these frequencies? Like, is that a two-way street? Is that a one-way street? How does that work?
It's really a no-way street.
Okay.
Brooks. It's a no-way street.
Okay.
It's quite a disturbing reality called economics. So for more than 100 years, the human species, especially in America, has been marketed to by a pharmaceutical industry that's interested in proffering sickness and creating solutions that aren't solutions. Simple equation. You ready? We just went through how the brain is wired and what the brain does and what the brain's responsible for. Well, the autonomic nervous system is responsible for fear, stress, anxiety, depression, and worry. So why would you think that giving me a central nervous system suppressant, a benzodiazepine, is helping me? It's not. You're giving me a central nervous system solution for an autonomic nervous system problem. This is the Band-Aid symptom management of Western medicine. This is a big problem. Nobody knows and nobody thinks of this, and when they first hear that, they're like, holy shit, that's not good. No, it's not. You will never find a solution and move towards health and balance, homeostasis, and cure by giving me a benzodiazepine to suppress my central nervous system when I'm really plagued with autonomic nervous system imbalance. None of this makes sense. None. Welcome to economics. My children are young, they're curious, their dad's a neuroscientist, and they'll be like, Dad, why is it like that? And why are those buildings insurance buildings? And why are the tallest buildings in every city banks? And I'm like, follow the money. And we've all heard that term before, follow the money. That's all you need to do, follow the money.
Yeah.
So our Western medicine system is far from operating copacetically. and it's egregious how doctors have become distributors of pharmaceutical companies, and pharmaceutical companies will find and invent some kind of solution and then create a disease state and then market it. Hey, you need this. Hey, you got high cholesterol, you need a statin. Well, if you knew the value of cholesterol to blood chemistry, yeah, you don't really need a statin. I certainly don't need neuropathy from a statin. I also don't need 26 prescriptions to offset the side effects for everything else,
Right.
with nobody managing the contraindications of the solutions. I did an interview with a veteran recently, and it was so disturbing. It's like, Jim, at one point I was on 26 medications. I was on medications to solve the side effects of other medications. But remember early on in our discussion today, we talked about normalization and resilience. Your body normalizes everything. That's why if you diet, your body normalizes it after a while. If you do a certain workout, your body normalizes it after a while. If you take a antidepressant, your body normalizes it after a while. So, yeah. So there's the problem here. I'm 57. I travel about 250 to 300 days a year. I run a global neuroscience company. I've got customers in 106 countries. I lecture, like tonight, I have presentations till 11 o'clock tonight, and I've been up since 5 this morning. I've got 3 daughters. I have enough reasons in my life to be stressed all day. I'm not. I take no medications. I take no supplements. I use NuCalm, and I drink water. That's it.
Amazing.
And you can find shortcuts because of our attention span so weak, and because we've been programmed, especially in America, to seek silver bullets.
Yeah.
That we're so conditioned for it. We're like, oh, that takes more than 10 minutes to fix my sleep issues. I can't do this. It's insane.
Yeah.
So the reality is, you can look for any silver bullet you want. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And we can go back to the 4 cores. How do I feel better, Mr. Poole? I don't know. How about nutrition, sleep, water, and connection? Have you ever heard of those 4 pillars? How about engage in those pillars? But, another curious piece, and this is more economics than it is conspiratorial, but, it should caution people or concern them that more than 4 decades ago, food companies started hiring neuroscientists. Now, why would a food company hire a neuroscientist? Well, what if the neuroscientist could create glutamates and excitatory neurotransmitters and cytokines and neurotoxins to create addictive food? What about that? What about eating food that's so toxic that everybody has leaky gut in their 40s and 50s because our microbiome is so compromised? What about having cortisol in your belly all the time? What? So in America, we are poisoning our population, and we kind of need to eat. This is a problem. Mm-hmm. So my kids are like, so Dad, I want to do this and do this and do this. I said, okay, eat food, man. Eat food that looks like food, and eat food that was actually grown.
Crazy idea.
Out of the earth. You travel in foreign countries, and it should alarm people that when you come back into America, you can't bring food. That's a problem.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't bring food? I bought this sandwich in an airport in Europe. You can't bring that into the country. Why? Because it's actually food. You go to Europe and you eat food, and you're like, wow, this is what a tomato tastes like. Oh, good. I go to Africa, and I'm like, wow, this is what food tastes like. Now, the only place I've been where I will caution people, Egypt is amazing. The culture, the history, the pyramids, the alien life form, all that stuff's amazing. But they're magicians. They literally make flavor disappear. I've never experienced anything like it. I was there for 13 days. I came home lighter. I was like, I don't know. Aren't you guys on the spice road? I had hummus that tastes like cardboard. I was like, you guys are like miracle workers. Anywho, all right, so there's been a lot of information already shared with your audience here, so I'm sure they're like, wow, okay. And it's not like we're mythbusters. We just know things and we share them with people. And when you pose simple questions like, hey, like the pharmaceutical one. I did a lecture in Singapore a couple weeks ago, and someone raised their hand, and it's impressive when someone's vulnerable like that. But they're like, "Listen, my daughter suffers this, and I have her on antidepressants." I said, "Get her off them immediately, immediately." Her brain physiology and chemistry hasn't even evolved yet. Her GABAergic system isn't even fully mature, and you're already compromising her cell structure, her receptor sites. She is literally going to be in trouble a lot more than she is today. And part of it could just be hormonal dysregulation of being a teenage girl. Who knows? But get her off of any medication, or else you're just asking for scar tissue buildup and more medication. All right. Should we attack this awesome solution called NuCalm?
Yeah, let's get into it.
So the genesis of NuCalm started 36 years ago. And it started with a desire by a brilliant neuroscientist, quantum physicist, naturopath, but also a clinician who served trauma victims in Texas. And he had a good, portfolio of people to work from. People coming out of the theater of war and people coming out of abuse. Okay. The conventional therapy for trauma, complex trauma and addiction, is I'm going to give you a narcotic-based pharmaceutical. I'm going to suppress your central nervous system. Take this. I'm not going to help you, but you're not going to feel in pain right now. And then I'm going to engage in cognitive behavioral therapy, but your brain is so frightened and doesn't trust anybody that you're not going to speak to me anyway. So if you ask Blake, say, hey, Blake, what was that like? He said, literally, I want to take care of somebody. I want to help them down their healing journey. And if I follow conventional therapy, I'm damning them to suicide. They're going to take their own life. They're going to take their own life, not because they're cowards. They get so tired of living in this brain they don't understand. They're not doing it anymore. I'm not going to do that. So my job was to figure out, how can I help people heal? So the hypothesis was this. If I can safely and predictably down-regulate and slow down your frequency and hold you in the healing zone of 4 hertz, your body knows how to heal you. So my job is to facilitate. Now, the hypothesis is crazy to me, because who would even hypothesize that? I wouldn't even know where to start. But the practice and applying this, it took Blake 19 years to figure this out. And Blake was by far the smartest human being I've ever met. And everybody who met him knew. You just knew something, whatever this is, it's incredible. 19 years to figure it out. Why? The human brain has something called the reticular activating system, the RAS. And this reticular activating system is amazing. It is the most amazing pattern recognition machine in the world. And once it finds a pattern, it finds shortcuts. That's how we live. You can imagine how many packets of information you receive from your visual cortex every day, and your ears, and your touch, and your visceral organs, and your intuition, and your nose. Well, you can't process everything. It doesn't make any sense. So your reticular activating system is constantly evaluating your surroundings all the time. Blake knew, if I don't trick that part of the human brain, you're going to build resistance to NuCalm. So what he built was a software. The software has very complex science in it. There's a pitch and frequency matrix. There's binaural signal processing and isochronic waveform, which are ways to deliver signals. There's a nonlinear oscillating algorithm, which was really the key to how this could be so effective. And this software is 250 megabytes to 3 gigabytes of information. It's really big. It's presenting your brain with signals, and your brain synchronizes to the signals. On top of the software, we compose original music and sound design. So you put a headphone on, and say you select Rescue, which is 4 hertz. Within 4 minutes on Rescue 20, your brain is now at 4 hertz. It's like a thermostat. So Blake figured out how to modulate your frequency with simply a headphone, a mobile app, and sometimes an eye mask. This is so profound. It's a life-changing experience for anybody who's tried it. But this changes how humans manage their behavior, their mood, and their thoughts. Humans, for all of our capacity and amazement, we're very, very pedestrian in how we manage ourselves. We rely on external stimulation. Think about in your life, the common American practice has caffeine and sugar, has Monster Energy and 5-Hour Energy and Red Bull, has alcohol, whiskey, wine, beer, CBD, THC, psilocybin, pharmaceuticals. We take all these things without even thinking about it to manage the frequency of our brain, which in turn manages our thought, behavior, and mood. What if you didn't need to do that? Because you don't. What if you just needed a headphone and select how you want to feel, and our neuroscience takes you to that outcome? That is what Blake invented. And for the past 17 years, we have perpetually innovated and built. And this sounds like Star Trek. It's not. This is math and science and physics. This is as fundamental to science as you could ask for. As a neuroscience company, we have 52 medical advisors. Our research was done at institutions like Harvard Medical School and NASA. You've probably heard of them. We studied stage 4 cancer patients versus Chicago Blackhawks for 5 years. We were awarded the only patent in the world for balancing the nervous system of a human being 11 years ago. We're still the only patented system in the world for balancing your nervous system. We were awarded the only patent in the world for a method used to elicit a state change in a human brain. That was 5 years ago. We're still the only company. So we went through the FDA. We were an FDA Class 3 medical device. We went through Health Canada. We went through the military approval. We have 52 medical advisors, and it's taken us 36 years and $52 million to get here. So it's not Star Trek. It's real. And the people we work with are the most discerning audiences you can think of. The Department of Defense warfighters, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Air Force Special Operations Command, the FBI Hostage Rescue Team, SWAT, the FedEx Pilots Union, 78 professional sports teams, cancer patients, you name it, we've been serving. So we've been at this a long time. The coolest thing about NuCalm for all of you listeners is two things. One, for all the complexity of our science, boy, did we pull off a fast one when we took 36 years and $52 million of science and put it into a mobile app. Not because we wanted to be an app company. We're not an app company. We're a neuroscience company delivering our solution through an app. You know why? Because humans are amazingly capable of putting obstacles in their way of taking care of themselves. So we got to make this easy, which we've done. You got a headphone? Yeah. You got a mobile app? Yeah, we got you. We got you covered. The second thing about this is math and physics. It doesn't say, hey, Brooks has been naughty today. I'm not going to help him. Or Tim doesn't need to sleep tonight. It just does its job. Yeah. So earlier we talked. We've been working with monks for 12 years. We've been working with people all over the world, from in utero to 100 years old, on 6 continents and 106 countries. Guess what? Everybody's brain is made of the same parts. Everybody's brain oscillates in the same range. We don't seek any information from you. We don't need any. You simply say, hey, I need stress relief. You hit rescue. Within 4 minutes, you're at 4 hertz. You're meditating like a monk, and chances are you can't meditate like a monk. But math and physics can help you. You want to be creative. Flow state's 7.83 hertz. You put an eye mask on and a headphone. You're in a creative state. You want to do work. You put a headphone on. We take you to 18.4 hertz. Voila. Wow, I'm doing my work. So that is what we've created. It's so ridiculously awesome. It is so awesome. It's like, how did we do this? And I know how we did it, but it's still probably the coolest thing for your audience to pay attention to because, you know, I've been there. When Dr. Holloway first came to me with this, I was like, this dude's either on crystal meth or he's like from Star Trek. I don't understand anything he's talking about. How could any of this be possible? We started on November 5th, 2009 in Chicago, Illinois for surgery. So instead of putting somebody under general anesthesia, We put a headphone on them, an eye mask, and we put them on NuCalm Rescue. And then we wheeled them into an operatory, and they were operated on with no general anesthesia. That's how we started. We were a $6,000 FDA Class 3 medical device. Today, 17 years later, we've done over 2,600,000 surgeries replacing general anesthesia. So if you want to know how powerful the tech is, that's a pretty good one. And people say, well, how are you different from Calm and Headspace? Well, I'm like, first of all, that's entertainment and bedtime stories, number one. Number two, why don't you go have a surgery done listening to Calm and tell me how it goes? Because I'm really curious to know. So there's neuroscience, and then there's gizmos, gadgets, and apps. And unfortunately, the FTC and the FDA, they have too much work to do. They can't come and tell everybody, you can't say that. It's amazing what companies are saying and getting away with it. But there's one reality. There's only one company in the world with the only patents in the world. There's only one company in the entire space of health and wellness that used to be an FDA Class 3 highest regulated medical device. We did it. 36 years, we did it. So our job is simply to say, hey, we have a 7-day free trial. Don't take our word for it. I don't even know how powerful our words can be because half of this stuff sounds like we're from the 25th century. So you should have a natural skepticism. Great. How about this? There's a 7-day free trial. So in the comfort of your own home, you put the headphones on, you press start, and there is no learning curve and there is no time. First time you try it, you can get up and be like, what the hell is that? And how did that do it? And then the next day you're going to do it, oh, okay. It wasn't a fluke. And then the third day, I'm like, okay, I'm onto something and I'm going to make this a habit. I think, Brooks, once people learn how much stress they were carrying and now it's gone, they don't want to go back. They're like, you know what? Monkey mind, go take a vacation, not interested in you dictating my life anymore. So we see exceptional retention rates. We see exceptional everything because we solve people's problems. Earlier today, I mentioned people. I have relationships with some of the most influential people in the world, not because I care to have relationships with influential people. I don't. But if you want to think of trust and vulnerability, you take our product into your home and into your brain. Maybe we trust him, maybe.
Yeah.
Then, when we solve your stress and your sleep and your inability to focus, you share it with your spouse, who's typically the hardest audience to influence anyway, right? Then you share it with your children, your parents, and your friends, and your family. That's how we've built this army of influencers and ambassadors who've used the product Tony Robbins has been using the product every day for 11 years. Jim Quick, 8+ years, right? How? Because it does something for them. And it's going to do something for you too.
Yeah. I mean, I'll share my experience because I've spent a disgusting amount of money in personal development, health, all the things over the last 15 years. Nothing even comes close. And it's an app. It's not thousands of dollars. I'm actually shocked I hadn't found it sooner than I did, but I'm telling you, because my full-time, this is a podcast here, but I have a health and fitness coaching company. So like all my clients, all my friends and family, I've been telling about it nonstop. Like if you're listening to this, just give it a try. Like, I'm not kidding. Like it'll change your life. And I think a huge part about what you said there is so important that people don't realize how much stress they're holding. Like when I did it for the first time, and I had tried like binaural beats on a YouTube channel or whatever, and a lot of meditation and a lot of different things, and yoga nidra, which was definitely better than traditional meditation for me because it would actually get me to downregulate quite a bit. But this just it's a sledgehammer compared to a chisel with all these other tools. And when you really feel what it's like to allow yourself to fully, I mean, it's every time. Like what's amazing to me is that I don't know, you probably know more than I do, but to me, it seems like it's within, if I'm doing Rescue 40, it's within minutes 5 and 15 where it's like that pre-bed state where you start to notice that you're falling asleep, but you're not asleep. And you start to just really realize how connected to your thoughts you were before that moment, but you didn't realize. And all of a sudden you're like, it's just this distance, like you said, like a monk of 50 years can meditate to try to get to that place, or you can do this once.
So
And
the matrix there, Brooks, is 4 minutes to theta in Rescue 20, VT in Rescue 20, 7 to 8 minutes in everything beyond 20. So 30,
okay.
Rescue 30, 40, 50. So the first few minutes, your mind's it's running at a fast velocity. So your body's shifting, nothing's happening. We call it the departure lounge. We're literally seeking permission from your central nervous system to take control away. So the first few minutes we need to prepare you, but you're right. You'll notice your body start falling into the bed. That separation of mind and body, and that's at minute 7 to 8 is where you drop in,
Okay.
and then it's bye bye.
Yeah.
And then you come to at some point, like earlier today I did, and maybe at minute 19 I just popped like the button on a turkey. I was like, boom, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, where am I at in the track? I don't know where I'm at in the track because I'm never really lucid during this part of the track anyway. But so that part is fascinating. I'm gonna showcase two things you mentioned, which are really important. I love the fact that people are starting to tune into frequency, and I love the fact that people are starting to tune into things like binaural beat. But you can be cocktail dangerous in all of it. Frequency medicine is not what we do. Frequency we deliver. We deliver 432 and 528. We deliver 260 and 132. Who cares? Your brain is really, really complicated, and the reticular activating system is a beast. It finds patterns in everything. That's not what we do. We modulate your brainwave frequency. We go right to the source of life. Without a brainwave frequency, you're not here, you're dead. So we went right to the source and said, where would you like to be now? You want to go to 4 hertz? We'll take you to 4 hertz. So we're not frequency medicine, we're frequency modulation. There's been nothing like it in the world. Binaural beat was discovered by a German scientist in 1839. It's fascinating. It shows how the brain compensates. So you trick the brain by presenting one frequency in one ear and a different frequency in the other ear, and the brain subtracts the difference. Fascinating. That's a delivery mechanism. I couldn't care less about it. We use that in the physics because we have to deliver a precise signal. But a good analogy is if I were to order pizza pie, I love pizza. I can't digest it the way I used to anymore. It sits in my small intestine for a couple days after I eat it. But in the event that I could eat a pizza today, when I call and order a pizza and the pizza delivery boy shows up at my doorstep, I don't eat the pizza delivery boy. That's the delivery mechanism. That's binaural beat. I don't care what's on the pizza. That's how NuCalm is different. That's how we have all this science behind it, because it's the complexity of the message that I'm presenting to your brain. So you'll know, and your audience will know. If you've ever listened to the Monroe Institute, HoloSync, the Silver System, the David System, the first time you listened to a track, it was amazing. The second time you listened to a track, it was really, really good. The third time you listened to it was good. The fourth time, it was boring and mediocre to nothing, because it's a simple pattern. That's how NuCalm is unique, and that's why whenever you use it, it's reliable. It's never not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, is because that first 4 to 8 minutes or whatever it ends up being, that's normally how people sit, or how I was sitting in meditation the entire time. Then you're just frustrated, and it's like, I don't really know if I got, but this is like you get up and you feel like you slept for 6 hours. Like,
Correct.
and not because when I nap, I wake up like I'm tired the rest of the day. This is
If you nap, you fall into delta. With rescue, we don't bring you to delta. We bring you to the healing zone just above delta. Very few people have mastered the art of napping because the first area of sleep is delta. So if you fall into delta, you get up, you're grumpy and mentally lethargic because you're like, I didn't get out of that cycle. So napping is a challenge. For me personally, napping was a failure. If I ever napped, I'd be like, what a loser. But when I got up, I was grumpy. I was like,
yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I never could.
I'm not a napper, but I'm a rescuer every day.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. As soon as I start to feel mentally lethargic or I lose enthusiasm for my call schedule for the afternoon, I'm like, I don't tolerate it. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go do 20 minutes of rescue. When I come back, I'm going to feel amazing. It's going to be like Groundhog's Day for me. I literally just got up. I have it timed so well. I went upstairs. I did 22 minutes and 7 seconds of Rescue VT Volume 1. I had the red light on my chest. I got up with 3 minutes to spare, put my suit on, came down here and dialed in. I don't miss it because I can't miss it, because I don't want to miss it, because I don't want to not be in command of my thoughts. Yeah. I use rescue every single day, and I have for 17 years. That's just the way my life is. And I met an Indian CEO, and he says, Jim, you have doubled my life. That's curious. I said, Daksesh, what do you mean? He said, in the morning, I start my day. I'm the CEO of the third largest blood supply, company in the world. And then by 1 o'clock, I'm toast. I do rescue. And I feel like it's the start of the day. So I get 2 work days in one. You've doubled my life. I said, oh, okay, I get that. So that's what we do. We double your life. And there's not a single war fighter, professional athlete, high-performing business person that's going to do something like rescue and think they're going to get up groggy. They won't do it.
Right.
You don't wake up from rescue groggy. You wake up feeling really, really mentally sharp, energized, yet focused and grounded. So it's a really cool juxtaposition. 12 years ago, we started working with monks. Remember, I didn't invent NuCalm, so I have no ego attachment to it. But I have curiosity, and I love, who can't we serve? We can serve cancer patients. We can serve military. We can serve veterans and addictive disease. Great. Can we serve monks? So I go to an ashram, and I introduce NuCalm, and I leave them with 10 NuCalm systems. This is back in the day when it was a system, and it was $6,000. And 10 days later, I come back, fully expecting them to say thanks, but no thanks. And I say, so what do you guys think of NuCalm? And they looked at me and said, we love NuCalm. I was like, what? You're monks. They're like, yeah, we're also human. So even if I've meditated 100,000 hours, I still have to go through meditation. And what we like about it is it glides us right in. Man, I'm doing the best meditation I've ever done in my life because I do rescue first. I get rid of all the necessity to downregulate and free my mind, and then I glide right in. So I remember stepping out of that meeting and calling our executive team and says, guys, things are getting crazy. We're chilling out monks, okay? I don't know what to say about society, but that's how powerful this is. There's a book that was written by Dr. Michael Gallitzer, if I can find it here. Here it is. Michael Gallitzer was the gentleman who introduced me to Tony Robbins almost 12 years ago. So he wrote a book. He's an amazing doctor. And it's about the physiology and the invention and the neuropsychopathology. It's about all things neuroscience written in 6th grade, reading level. It's great. I called Tony Robbins and said, hey, Michael's writing a book. I want you to write the foreword. Okay. So he wrote the foreword. I called the Yogananda monk who trained the Beatles on meditation and was Steve Jobs' confidant and George Harrison's confidant. I said, Brother Craig, I'd like you to write the preface for this book. So we have a book about neuroscience where a nuclear reactor of energy, Tony Robbins wrote the foreword, and a monk wrote the preface. Both of them using the same technology to derive benefit. That is awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, I can't stop. I can't stop talking about it. So obviously, like if you're listening to this, you're gonna try it. You're gonna notice so much energy. It's just everything. You're gonna be calmer, all the things. But I'm curious. So it's taking you into theta, which we get into during deep sleep. Is that right?
During sleep, not during deep sleep.
Okay, during sleep. What other things you mentioned mitochondrial repair. What other things are going on in that theta state that might be going on in the background?
Everything that you could want as a human. So cellular restoration and cellular maintenance. So cleaning your toxins out of your cells, that structural piece is really important, and the mitochondrial piece. But in that state of theta, it's a lucid dream state. In that state of theta, what's also happening physiologically is we're slowing down your respiration to 1 breath every 10 seconds. So if you breathe 6 breaths a minute, we're oxygenating your prefrontal cortex. So we're oxygenating the whole body. But we're removing lactic acid, we're removing any muscle tension. So physiologically, we're oxygenating the body, and oxygen is the healing element to the human body. On a cellular level, you're cleaning their toxins, doing your cellular maintenance, and the mitochondrial function. So when you balance your nervous system, everything in your life works well. Your hormones, your appetite, your sex drive, your digestion, everything. When your nervous system is in balance, everything works well. Anything you do to it is accentuated. But nobody's nervous system is in balance. We all have our foot on the accelerator and we're out of balance. So this is the key for resilience, to stave off disease, and for longevity. This is the key. A balanced nervous system is the key. And unfortunately, people fall for things because they're desperate. But all these gizmos and gadgets, vagus nerve stimulators, TMS, magnetic resonance, all this shit is cause and effect. They're doing something saying, well, I really hope this activates the vagus nerve and raises the parasympathetic nervous system. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when we cycle your brain to 4 hertz, everything is optimized. At 4 hertz, your vagus nerve is fully engaged. At 4 hertz, your parasympathetic nervous system is fully dominant. Everything happens for resilience and good balance at 4 hertz. It is the healing zone and the key for all of us to thrive and survive. That's it. This is it. This is the key. So it's crazy to me. They're like, yeah, I've been using this. And I'm like, neurobiofeedback's been around for 100 years. You may want to ask the question, why has it never been predictable? Well, there's something called adrenaline. Have you ever heard of it? Some days you have a lot of it and some days you don't. So if you just stimulate the brain through electrical signaling, you're forgetting about the chemistry. It's nonsensical. To me, Brooks, medicine makes incremental improvements on mediocre technology. It's not saving the day and it's not advancing humanity. Science innovates, and then humans have to adopt and adapt. So that's where we're at. We're taking science, we're taking technology, and it's crazy because we want you to plug in to unplug. We want you to plug in to an app so that you can actually unplug. And the more you unplug and the more you separate your monkey mind, the more balanced your nervous system is. So this is, to me, the key for everything. It's like doing addition and then wanting to move to calculus. Well, if you don't know how to do fundamental arithmetic, good luck.
I love how you said addition by subtraction earlier. I mean, that's what this show is about. And it's so, the principle underneath all these different things that people are using to maybe get 1/10 of the way there that NuCalm gets you into the first day.
Yeah.
Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, any sort of like somatic experiencing. I would assume like you use NuCalm, you regulate your nervous system. A lot of like the emotional triggers you have in your life that you may go to therapy for and try to deal with, you bring out your own inner healing to just kind of take care of it anyways.
Correct. It's a great augmentation for all therapy because we're going to create peace in your soul, in your cells, and in your being. We're going to create peace. If there's unresolved complex trauma, you may need to talk to somebody about it. We're going to keep peace in the body. How you move to consciousness is up to you. But we're going to do that for everybody. From a sociopath to a psychopath to a normally adjusted person. We're taking everybody to a state of cellular health and peace. On the growth side, Brooks, is where you think, okay, what kind of guidance do I need or want? But on the healing side, NuCalm is a facilitator to allow the body to do its natural process because your body wants to be in balance. It's everything that we, put at it that takes us out of balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So www.NuCalm, NuCalm. The name and the genesis of the name came from, people ask me, well, who's your competitor? Drugs and alcohol. They've always been our competitor. We call that old calm. Since the dawn of mankind, if you're in psychic pain and you have a glass of wine, guess what? Your problems roll off your shoulders. But it creates greater problems called addiction. So old Calm, and now we have NuCalm. NuCalm. Check it out. 7-day free trial. There's monthly subscriptions for $15, $30, or $50 a month. There's annual subscriptions. Think about this. 4 years ago, it was a $6,000 FDA Class 3 regulated medical device. Today, it's a mobile app with a monthly subscription.
Beautiful. Yeah, seriously, and I'll put the link in the description. Check it out. Like, you won't go back. It'll change your life, literally. So thank you so much, Jim. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week.
Be well, everybody. Peace.
If you want to try NuCalm, and I genuinely think you should, there's a 7-day free trial at NuCalm.com. You can use code Brooks for 15% off your subscription. I use it almost every day. It's the best $15 a month I spend. I will put the link below in the show notes. And if this conversation resonated with you, please share it with one person who needs to hear it. That's how this show grows. See you next week.